Hey everybody, it's Grayson. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you're having a great day. Today's going to be a little bit different. I'm just going over real quick what I think about the big $150 million lawsuit that Dave Ramsey now has on his table. So if you haven't heard, Dave Ramsey and the people behind the Timeshare Exit Team are being sued for $150 million. This is from 17 listeners of Dave Ramsey, and they allege in this lawsuit that Dave Ramsey endorsed Timeshare Exit Team to get them out of a timeshare. Now, before we even get into that, if you don't know, timeshares are freaking terrible. Don't get in a timeshare. It's such a waste of money. The math never works. Don't do it. Okay, now, this lawsuit, again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be one. I don't even play one on TV. So I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty parts of it. I'm just going to tell you what I think about it. And hopefully we can get some information as this progresses through. This isn't the first lawsuit that Dave Ramsey and his organization had against him. Some former employees have been suing him. But this is a big one, because it's basically alleging that he didn't disclose that he was being paid by the Timeshare Exit Team. Now, this company was being run by Reed Hain, and they allegedly paid Dave Ramsey over the course of several years from 2015 to 2021 around $30 million for advertising. Now, common sense dictates that if you ever tell your readers or your listeners that you have a sponsor, which I actually have heard him say in his radio program, because I do listen to it often, that these were sponsors. The Timeshare Exit Team was a sponsor. Did he do it every time? I can't say that for sure, but while he did endorse them, he did say that they were sponsors. So common sense would dictate that he was being paid for that. And there were a lot of people starting to complain to Dave Ramsey about Timeshare Exit Team. He went on about a 9-minute diatribe on his radio program about the lawsuits that were going against the Timeshare Exit Team from companies, timeshare companies, because they were basically trying to put them out of business, and it eventually worked. Timeshare Exit Team went out of business after having to pay $2.6 million for deceptive practices in the state of Washington. So they did go out of business. Supposedly, when you use Timeshare Exit Team, if they couldn't get you out of your timeshare, you would get a full refund. There were a couple people that paid $40,000, $72,000, minimum $5,000 to get out of these timeshare contracts. But the majority of the time, they couldn't get them out. They just sent boilerplate letters that then said, hey, you should send this to your timeshare company, or just don't pay. Well, you can't just not pay for your timeshare. That's how bad things happen, because it's a contract. So really, Timeshare Exit Team didn't know what they were doing. They couldn't actually get anybody out of a timeshare. Now, is Dave Ramsey responsible for the deceptive practices of Timeshare Exit Team? I'm going to say no. Because even though he endorsed them, I would say if he did hear from people that say, and you heard a trend of them not being able to deliver, I would probably cancel their sponsorship. I would not let them advertise on my program. I don't know. And from what I've heard, that didn't happen. He kind of just let them go until they just couldn't pay for a sponsorship anymore because they were fighting a lawsuit. Again, that is Dave Ramsey's prerogative. It's his program. If he was disclosing that he was a sponsor or they were a sponsor of his, then you should know that he's getting paid for that. So that endorsement isn't really necessarily a real endorsement. It is just a paid advertising spot. And he has a nationally syndicated radio show. He has a lot of sponsors. He gets paid for these. We should have common sense to know this. So I don't really know how much legs this lawsuit has. It's only 17 people. And if he had a lot of people using this service and there's only 17, that means either others got out of their timeshare, don't really want to get into a lawsuit, or just don't know. I'd be interested to see where this one goes because, I mean, Dave Ramsey is the OG of personal finance, especially like online and all that kind of stuff. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal in the finance space. So I just wanted to give my 2 cents. I don't think this has a lot of merit because you have to be able to show that he never disclosed that they were a sponsor. And if these people were that gullible and they didn't realize that this company was just a sponsorship, then that's on them. And then really, to be honest, we have to really start being responsible for our own actions. Now, these people got into a timeshare, first mistake, and then while they did use Dave Ramsey's recommendation, that's just all it is a recommendation. Just like when my clients come to me asking for something specific, I will give a recommendation and I will say, hey, I've used this, or this company I've heard has been good, but I'm not them. All I can do is move them over. They could be terrible. I don't know because I'm not personally working with that other company. I could just say, this is who I know who does X, Y, and Z. Here is, their contact information. You can see that as a recommendation, but I'm not saying that this is, like nothing's going to go wrong because I'm not the one providing the service on that end. But the thing is that just like the big FTX debacle, all these people that are suing YouTubers for, sponsorships of FTX, these YouTubers didn't know what FTX was doing behind the scenes. Nobody did. I mean, look at it. Nobody knew. All these investors that went into FTX, they didn't know about this. So the craziness saying that they should be responsible for this, I find that a little bit outlandish. You lost money because you put a ton of money in FTX, an unregistered security. Come on. We got to be responsible for our own actions. Yes, I do think that the YouTubers should have been more upfront. And when they found out things, they should have come forward and said, hey, this is what's going on. And really, if they didn't disclose that they were being paid by FTX, then that is on them. But still, we as people need to be responsible for our own actions. What do you guys think about this big lawsuit? Do you think it's going to go anywhere? Do you think Dave Ramsey's going to even care, to be honest? Or do you think he'll settle? Or will he push it all the way through and just go to court and see what happens? I'd be interested to know what you guys think in the comments below. Again, I appreciate you guys stopping by, and I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you next time on Wealth Bites, and I hope we're all just a little bit wealthier.